side. But that's pretty much all I have to say. Is that it?
Yeah. But now we're going to move into Q&A. We'll just take one at a time and declare who you're asking your question to, and they're going to go up to the front and give a brief answer, and then if there's a really needed response from the other, you can go up there and do that. So first one, sorry.
This is from Kyle. Is that which is good determined by God? And if this is so, how can God be good if he is above morality?
Well, it's all tied, ultimately, and we would understand this in systematic theology, to be tied to his being itself. That God is the ultimate standard of good, and what he does is by necessity good because he is by necessity good. Once again, I'm relying on the scriptures by faith, but, you know, there you go. Does that answer your question? Or?
Not really, but...
Well, okay, well, okay.
My question, okay, I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah.
Why do you claim to know that this God is real, but how do you know? Why do I doubt? Why do so many people doubt? Why do Hindus believe in Brahma? And why do, etc.? I mean, how do you know? How are you so sure?
The scriptures speak of man and his sin.
But how do you know the scriptures are true? What if you were raised in India and you were taught to believe in the Bhagavad Gita?
More than likely I would believe that, but once again, if it was God's
So
will.
do you think you would deserve to burn in hell because you were raised in the wrong country?
Actually, yes, I would. If I did not hear and believe in the name of Christ, then I would
Well,
believe.
this is the fundamental difference between us. I cannot believe. Well, first of all, it's incompatible, the idea that this God is omnibenevolent, omniscient, and omnipotent. And yet, he would set up things just so that billions upon billions of people would burn forever, just because they were born in the wrong religion, born in the wrong time, born in the wrong country. And it doesn't matter how good these people are. It doesn't matter how diseases they cure.
Can I make one statement, please?
Cool.
Yeah, finish up with this and you can let Mark know and move on to the questions.
Okay. Well, it's not ultimately because they are born in the wrong cultural context or born to parents of a different religion that they are going to hell. That's not the thing. The thing is that we are all born in sin and we are all responsible before God, the just and holy God. And we, no matter how minute the sin is, it is still abominable to God because he is perfectly holy, perfectly just, and perfectly good, and we cannot stand before his presence without the atoning blood of Christ.
Okay, so we're going to go to questions. Okay.
This is Chris, and you're in physics and astronomy, and we live in a cause and effect reality, and the laws of general relativity talk about cause and effect. And just a simple form of logic here, no effect can be greater than its cause. And you believe in the Big Bang Theory, right?
I accept it to be the best theory to explain the evolution of the universe today.
Okay, very good. I do too, and I was kind of at a point in time, the Big Bang Theory states about that the universe began in a finite point in time.
Not really.
Well, let's say it's one of the most widely right. It started at a finite time ago, 14.1 billion years ago.
The theory breaks down if you try to go to zero. But nobody who understands cosmology, nobody who studies cosmology, thinks that general relativity is the final theory.
Okay. Well, so that's what I was asking. If it's the ultimate cause, if it is the beginning, which we can see that the universe has a beginning, then doesn't it need a beginner? Doesn't it need does something come from nothing, or does everything come from nothing? And wouldn't we expect to see something come from nothing? Like, would we expect to see grizzly bears with lightsabers popping in out of existence? If it happened one point in time, 13.47 billion years ago, wouldn't we expect to see it now?
But scientists don't believe that the Big Bang Theory is something to believe in just because it makes them warm and fuzzy. They believe it because that's what all the evidence points to. No scientist who understands the theory also is going to say necessarily that the universe began 13.7 billion years ago. What we see is that we see the further back in space we go, galaxies are moving further and further away, and the theory tells us that if you try to trace it back that they were very close together billions and billions of years ago. No one thinks it's a final theory because we have no way yet of merging quantum theory with it. And questions such as, what was before the Big Bang theory? I'm sorry, the Big Bang. Nobody knows if that question even makes sense. It could be that there was something, could be that there wasn't. We don't know. And that's, as a scientist, it's okay with me not knowing.
Quick response to the discussion.
Okay, well, you said that we don't necessarily, no scientist will say that these things happen by necessity. When in your talk you speak of necessity, as if it's something that we can use to kind of throw around.
I wouldn't say that it would happen as a, say that again.
Well, you spoke that no scientist can say a theory, which we would ultimately say that theories will continue on until we have absolutely conclusive evidence, but of course, when will that be?
There's no such thing.
Well, okay, there's no such thing. So how can we ever have any sort of necessity or any true truth unless we can gather in all the particulars and understand the universe from that?
Most scientists aren't really concerned with truth. They're concerned with what works. And we know that science works. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this nice building with all these nice lights. We wouldn't have had all the inoculations that we had when we were young to keep us from dying from illness. So that's what I care about. Science works.
All right, go to the next question.
I have a question. Yes, I believe you use the phrase, sorry, terrible names, Black? Kyle, okay. I believe you use the term sad and dismal when describing human civilization. If human civilization truly is sad and dismal, shouldn't we get to work, use science, use our minds, use our cognitive functions to make our world better? Shouldn't we decrease suffering instead of just constantly thanking and praising God, all the time? Shouldn't we do something about it?
Well, that's part of the Christian faith in some sense, that we actually are going out into the world, in some sense helping other people. But one thing I do have to say is that if God does not exist, if the universe is all there is, and the universe doesn't care, it's a completely arbitrary entity, then are we not fooling ourselves into thinking that our existence for the next moment is actually useful and worth something? If in the long run it really doesn't matter.
You respond, I guess.
This is for Kyle. Right now, okay, so if there were a secular way of thought or life that was exactly the same in every aspect of morality as Christianity, except for a belief in a deity, would you continue to cling to Christianity, and why or why not?
Actually, I will continue to cling to Christianity because in the Christian worldview, it's not about morality. It's not by the works of your hands that you are saved, but through faith in Christ. It's the works that He has done that are imputed to you upon faith, and therefore you're righteous before God. For every work that you do on this earth outside of Christ is considered as filthy rags before God, according to the Christian tradition. So I would absolutely cling to Jesus, though a moral system may rise up that equates itself to Christianity on a moral level.
See, those kind of comments are why I think religion is profoundly dangerous. There's not, human life is not that important, apparently in Kyle's view. If you simply believe in Jesus, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter that you try to improve this world, because it doesn't matter. This is all, all ephemeral. We'll go off into that great kingdom in the sky. It doesn't matter what we blow ourselves to bits. It doesn't matter at all.
Well, can I make one comment?
Sure.
Okay. Actually, that's a false assumption. I do believe that we are to love our neighbor as ourselves. That there are good things that have come out of science. I'm by no means against science. Don't let me fool you there. But what I am saying is that the primacy goes to glorifying God, and by glorifying God, we are to also glorify, well, not glorify, but at least show our love to those who are made in His image. And that's part of glorifying God and enjoying Him. Is actually every single person in here. We're supposed to, as Christians, to love them and cherish them and help them out as much as we possibly can. Though we do not live by that moral standard often, it is what we strive for, at least what we should strive for, if we truly believe in Christ.
But again, there are billions of good people that have died and who still live. And how can you say that it matters if they don't believe in Christ, they're going to go to hell anyway.
Well, what's your standard of good? Where are you getting this conception of good from?
My standard of good is pretty much what anyone's is. I want to be treated with respect. Everybody wants to be treated with respect. Nobody wants their bodies to be harmed for the most part. I don't want my body to be harmed. Most people don't want to die. I don't want to die. So let's follow those rules, and life will get on dandy.
So it's a grand subjective motive.
No, it's not
good.
subjective. I think I'm not a moral absolutist or moral relativist. I think the way we behave is basically encoded in us. As a matter of survival, it has been very beneficial to us to treat ourselves at least well enough that we have proliferated across this world.
Can I make one more comment? If it's ingrained in us and we just do it just by programming, then why does it matter? How can we actually say that what we do is good or bad or whatever? And furthermore, how can you judge me on my belief on God if it's nothing more than chemical impulses in my brain? It's just that. It's like you can't give a true or false statement on it. It's just that. You're observing it for what it is. So
that's what I believe people learn. So maybe ingrained in your brain, I think you could learn otherwise.
In the back.
Chris, you closed by saying that you thought the meaning of life was for us to study science so that we could prolong life. But why do you want to prolong life? I mean, that life, in order for you to want to prolong it, there has to be something about life that you find meaningful and purposeful for you to want to prolong it. So I think the answer to the meaning of life is not so much that you want to prolong it, but really the question, why do you want to prolong it, would give us more of why we're here and what's so special about human life. And why do you want to prolong human life? Why is it seen as more valuable than the life of an animal or of every animal that exists out there? Why are we more concerned with human life than we are any other life?
Well, what I said is not that I want us to do this or that. What I said is that's just what people do. If you look throughout history, look at the behavior of people, forget about the philosophy, forget about their thoughts, just look at what people do. People have made their lives more comfortable. People have made their lives more secure. That's my point. This is what people do. And that's what I believe the meaning of life is to understand what it is that we do and why is it that we do it. We do it